chances are if you're watching this video, you're probably dealing with fungus gnats, and a lot of them. Don't worry, me too. You can see one of the traps back here, and today I'm going to show you how to eradicate them without using any chemicals, and it's actually easier than you might think it is. So first off, let's take a closer look at exactly what I'm dealing with.
So you can see by my traps that it's pretty bad. These traps don't really eradicate my fungus gnats, but it does give me a good gauge of what I'm dealing with, and I certainly have a problem going on. So the reason why I'm dealing with this is because I had overly wet soil and lots of organic matter in my soil that was feeding the larva stage of the fungus gnats and really propelled them into a population explosion. They've been so annoying. And speaking of the life cycle of fungus gnats, let's quickly go into that so we understand how to get rid of them and what we're dealing with. So as with all living things, there is a life cycle, and if we wanted to get rid of them for good, we have to target various stages of this life cycle. So they start out as small eggs, and they develop for about 5 days and move to their larva stage for about 14 days. Then after that, they move into a pupa for about 3 to 5 days, and both the larva and the pupa are living in the top about 1 inch of your soil. So after the pupa stage, they emerge as adults and they live for about a week, and they drive you crazy because they fly around into your nose holes every chance they get. So if you just target the adults, a few are going to get away and lay eggs and keep this cycle going. But if we target the adults and the larval and pupa stages, our chances are much better at eradicating them completely from our homes. So this is what we're focusing on today.
So now that we have all that knowledge under our belts, let's take our first step, which is changing our watering habit. And you're going to want to do this for at least a month. This is really key. We're going to bottom water so that the top few inches stay dry, and the larvae and the pupae that we were just learning about, they'll die because they need that moisture to survive.
I do this by filling up my tub with room temperature water and setting large amounts of my plants in there. And this just kind of saves me a lot of time rather than doing them one by one.
I leave them in there for about 10 to 15 minutes or less. I let them get the water they need, but I do not leave them in there so long the water reaches the top of the soil, because again, we want those top few inches to stay dry. This next tip is optional. It's something I decided not to do, but you can actually spray the soil with diluted isopropyl alcohol, about an 8-to-1 ratio with water, or you can use some other insecticide to get rid of the fungus gnat. But again, that's up to you. For me, I decided not to do this. We'll see if it works. I'll show results in just a second. Another option is stripping off the top few layers of soil. This completely gets rid of the larvae and the pupa and the eggs that are sitting in those top few layers. But if you do have a ton of adult fungus gnats flying around, chances are is that they will come back and lay new eggs in that newly exposed soil. So again, this is something you can decide to do if you'd like to, but bottom watering is also just as effective. Next step, this one's really key. We're going to cover our soil with small rocks or pebbles or some other medium. This creates a barrier so that the adults don't have access to the soil to lay their eggs, and it will stop the life cycle there. So the rocks I'm using, I got them from Amazon. I'll include all the links to everything I use down below. Anything that you have accessible or laying around can work as well. And the last step is to use those fungus gnat traps, get some new ones to kind of track your progress to see if there are adult fungus gnats still flying around or if you've been eradicating them. I'm going to be checking back in a month to see how mine have changed. Okay, so it's been about a month of consistently watering my plants from the bottom watering, and also having that rock layer on the top. Like I said earlier, I wasn't planning on using any insecticides, and I stayed true to that. I didn't really feel like I needed to because I felt like it was a pretty steep decline. How many fungus gnats were flying around, getting into my nose and things like that. So I'm actually really happy with the results. I want to show you guys a closer look at the fungus gnat traps that I set out about a week ago. So from the look of these traps, you can see that my infestation is significantly better, if not over. I have hardly had any gnats flying into my face, and I can tell that there aren't as many just in general anymore. So I'm super happy with how it turned out, and it took a few weeks of just being really diligent, especially with the watering, because that's how they were really thriving. But yeah, this method worked really well for me, and I'm telling you, I had so many to begin with. This is where we were before, and this is where we were after. Thank you so much for watching and for joining. If you want more helpful houseplant content, feel free to subscribe. I also have a podcast called Plant School Podcast, and feel free to listen over there. I'm sharing a lot of fun content about the history of houseplants, care guides, different people in botany. It's just a really fun area to explore the green world, especially the houseplant world. So if you'd like, join me over there. It's on any major podcasting platform. But thank you again for watching, and I hope you have a great day.